All right, let's jump right in. We're kicking this off with a pretty bold and honestly kind of alarming idea. See, we're not talking about some far-off future prediction here. We're talking about a massive shift that's already happening, an attack, if you will, on the digital economy as we know it. And no, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now.
Yeah, the agents have attacked. That's the stark declaration from the source material. Sounds like a movie poster, right? But it's not. This is a reality unfolding on servers all over the world. So that begs the question, what exactly are these agents that are supposedly on the attack?
Okay, so this is the key thing to get. We've moved way beyond simple chatbots. What we're dealing with now is a synthetic and autonomous workforce. Think about that. It's AI that doesn't just give you information, it actually takes action. It can operate all by itself, and that is completely changing the game for how the digital economy works.
So let's break this down. How did we even get here, to this point where we're talking about AI attacking? Well, the most important thing to wrap your head around is that this isn't some hypothetical what-if scenario. This is real, and it's already been deployed. You know, for decades, we've been the ones in the driver's seat with our software, right? We click, we type, we tell it what to do. But that old dynamic? It's flipping on its head. We are now building software where the main user isn't even a person anymore. It's another piece of software. So what's the secret sauce here? What's the technology that's making all this possible? It really all boils down to a huge change in architecture. We're moving away from just predicting information to actually executing tasks.
And this is where you can really see the difference. We're all familiar with large language models, LLMs. Well, now we're moving to large action models, or LAMs. I love this analogy. An LLM is like a brilliant mind trapped in a text cage. It can tell you exactly how to build a house, brick by brick. But you're the one who has to go out and do it. A LAM, though, it has digital limbs. It doesn't just tell you how, it goes and builds the house for you. It doesn't just talk, it acts.
So how do they do it? It's this simple three-step cycle: perceive, plan, and act. First, the agent perceives the digital world around it. It's reading website code, it's looking at APIs, it's understanding databases. Then it plans. It comes up with a whole multi-step strategy to get something done. And finally, and this is the absolute game changer, it acts. It actually executes that plan using whatever digital tools it needs, completely on its own.
Okay, look at this example. This just makes it crystal clear. You're not asking for advice here, like, how should I run a campaign? No, this is a command. You tell the agent, run this campaign, here's the budget, here's the platforms. Oh, and if the click-through rate stinks after 12 hours, fix the ads yourself and then inject the final report into our database tomorrow morning. The agent just does it, all of it. That leap from just generating ideas to actually executing complex work, that's what's driving this whole economic earthquake.
Now, a disruption this big might feel totally new, but we've actually seen something like it before. To really get a handle on the sheer scale of what's happening, let's rewind the clock a bit and look back at the dot-com boom. Remember back then, the unwritten rule was simple. If your business didn't have a website, you basically didn't exist. The internet just swallowed up the old ways of doing things. Well, today's new rule is frankly even more brutal. If your software isn't built so that an AI agent can read it and use it, you will be completely cut out of the new automated economic loop. It's like you're invisible.
And just like the dot-com era, we're seeing what you could call an agentic bubble starting to form. You've got tons of startups that are basically just pretty wrappers around an OpenAI API call, and they're getting these insane valuations. Now, just like the dot-com bubble, this one is probably going to burst. A lot of those wrapper startups will just disappear. But, and this is the most important part, the core infrastructure, the GPU clusters, the data centers, the big foundational models, that stuff isn't going anywhere. And that is what will be left for the real giants of the next era to build on.
So this whole shift has some pretty massive implications, especially for the software industry. In fact, it could be the beginning of the end for two of the biggest pillars of the modern tech world. So let's think about that. In this agentic attack, what's the first casualty? What's the silent victim in the software world that's becoming obsolete right now, right in front of us?
The user interface. Yep, the very thing we've poured millions of hours and dollars into perfecting for the last 20 years.
So why? Why is the UI dying? Well, it's simple. Its main user was always a human. We needed pretty buttons and nice-looking dashboards. But agents, they don't see any of that. They're not looking at your color scheme. They're reading the source code, the data structures, the APIs. Suddenly, your back-end infrastructure is way more important than your fancy front-end framework.
And that brings us to the next victim, the business model that has dominated tech for years, software as a service, or SaaS. See, with SaaS, you were basically renting a digital shovel. You got the tool, but you still had to do all the digging yourself. The new model is work as a service, WAS. You're not renting the shuttle anymore. You're hiring an autonomous digger to do the job for you. You pay for the hole to be dug, the completed outcome, not for access to the shovel. This is all heading towards a future that some people are calling the dark forest. Imagine a web where it's not humans browsing, but digital agents. Our agents talking directly to other agents, negotiating deals, buying things, managing tasks, all in milliseconds. It's a whole layer of economic activity happening in the background, completely invisible to us.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Like this quote says, true technology becomes magical only when it becomes completely invisible. The goal here is for all that complexity, all that agent-to-agent negotiation to just disappear. All you'll see is the magic, the final result.
Okay, so this is the new reality. The big question is, how do you survive it? And maybe more importantly, how do you build for it?
Well, this new world could give rise to something the source material calls the one-person unicorn. Seriously, picture this. A single founder who uses an army of agents to run an entire company. One agent is the marketing department, another is the development team, a third is the entire finance department, all running completely on their own.
This completely rewrites the rules of scaling a business. In the old days, scaling meant hiring more people. Now, scaling means allocating more compute power. Your most valuable capital isn't your team of people anymore. It's the elegance and power of your algorithmic architecture.
So when you strip everything else away, the choice for anyone building in this new world becomes incredibly simple. It's almost a binary decision.
There's the old path. Keep building pretty dashboards and beautiful interfaces for human eyes. Or you can take the new path. Build powerful, rock-solid infrastructure specifically for agents. The focus has to shift away from the front end and go deep into the APIs and protocols that these agents will use. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. In this new economic war, as AI agents start automating all the coordination and management tasks, where do you stand? Are you going to be a middleman, a role that's frankly on the chopping block? Or are you going to be an architect, one of the people who actually designs and builds the foundations this new world will run on?